Today we're looking at equations with logs on only one side, and you need to make sure that you isolate the log first. Take a look at how 13 and 14 look compared to 15 and 16. Do you see how in 15 and 16 we're going to have to do a little bit of work before the log is by itself? Once the log is by itself, we are basically going to change forms. Whenever you're stuck, change forms. So if you remember the log ride, we're going to use that to solve these equations. So in number 13, we have the log base 2 of x equals -1. X is stuck inside the log. This is not log base 2 times x. This is log base 2 of x. X is inside the log, so you can't divide it away. You have to change forms to get rid of it. Start at your base and woo! It's currently written as a log, so you don't want to write log again because then you're still stuck with the same problem. So instead you change it to exponents. 2 raised to the -1 equals x. You can do 2 to the -1 in your calculator. And you should get 0.5. Notice the directions still say check for extraneous solutions. Anytime you're dealing with logarithms, we can't put negative numbers inside of a log. So check right there. If I put 0.5 inside this log, it's positive. That is fine. So 0.5 is our answer. Number 14 is very similar. But anytime that you see ln, I want you to write this on your paper. ln means the same thing as log base e. So anytime that you see ln, you can rewrite it as log base e of x plus 22 equals 3. Can we subtract 22 right now? No, 22 is stuck inside the log. X is stuck inside the log. We can't touch either of those until the log isn't there anymore. And the only way to make the log not be there anymore is to change forms. Start at your base. Woo! E to the 3rd equals x plus 22. E to the 3rd, we can do that in our calculator. Remember, it's with your ln button, so wherever the ln button, that's where you're going to find E. Second ln button, and then 3, 20.09. What do we need to do to finish this equation? Subtract 22, and that will give us 20.09 minus 22, -1.91. We need to check -1.91 inside the original log, and I honestly don't care what -1.91 plus 22 is. All I care is it positive or is it negative? It's positive, so x equals -1.91 is good. In number 15, we need to do a little bit of work before we solve anything. We need to get ln of -x by itself. Anyone want to take a guess what we should do? Subtract 7 and then divide by 2. And I'm going to go ahead and write that as 3.5. And can I make this change? Log base e of negative x. ln is the same as log base e, and if we're going to have to change forms, it's nice to see that e in the problem. Okay, now we're stuck with negative x inside the log, so we need to change forms. E raised to the 3.5 equals negative x. E to the 3.5, 33.12. And if 33.12 is negative x, what is positive x going to equal? Negative 33.12. When we check this inside the log, because there's a negative in front of the x inside the log, when you put negative 33.12 in there, it would be negative 33.12, which would be positive. So that answer works. I want you to try 16 on your own. Keep in mind you need to add or subtract before you do anything else. Try number 16 on your own. Pause the video. Subtract 15, divide by 2. You got log base 2 of x equals 8. Change forms. 2 to the 8th equals x. What is 2 to the 8th? Is that 256? And then check 256 inside your original log. It's positive, so it's good. Our answer is 256. Okay, what looks different about number 17? There's 2 logs on the left. This is very similar to the last example we did yesterday and the last 2 problems on your assignment yesterday. If you have 2 logs on the same side, you need to condense them, and then we can change forms. So addition between the logs is the same as multiplication inside the log. So start by condensing it down to 1 logarithm. Now x and x minus 2 are stuck inside the log, so we need to change forms. Two to the 3rd equals x times x minus 2. And then we're going to distribute, simplify, do whatever needs to be done. 2 to the 3rd is 8, and x squared minus 2x. When we have x squared and x in the same equation, what do we need to do to solve this equation with x squared and x? We need to factor. So we need to get one side to equal 0. By subtracting 8 on both sides. And then we need to factor and solve. When you're factoring, some of you are going to be able to just draw the parentheses and figure out the pair of numbers and drop them in there. Some of you need to think about it a little bit more. And drawing out blank times blank equals -8, blank plus blank equals -2. That can help to focus your brain on what you're trying to find. To get 8, you can multiply 1 times 8 or 2 times 4. To get -2, we would have to do 2 and -4. So x plus 2, x minus 4. And then we need to solve. If our factored form is x plus 2, x minus 4, our solutions are -2 and +4. What is our very last step? Check. Don't check in the blue part, the log base 2 of x times x minus 2. You have to go all the way back to the beginning. We're going to check this yellow part, and we're going to check the blue part. So, -2. If we put -2 into the yellow, will the yellow be positive or negative? Negative, so that one doesn't work. If we put 4 right here in the yellow, log base 2 of 4, that's fine. 4 minus 2, that's positive, that's fine. So x equals 4 is our solution.